When you open Polyvis, you'll notice there are 3 drop-down menus on the left-hand side. These control the information which is displayed. The first allows you to select which objectives or performance metrics are shown on the vertical axes. To select some metrics, click the drop-down menu and select 2 of them. Click somewhere else in the window to go back to the plot. You'll see there are now 2 axes representing different performance metrics. More desirable performance is always at the top of an axis, so if low impact is desirable, the lowest values will be at the top of the axis. If high revenue is desirable, then the highest values will be at the top. The blue lines each represent an intervention option in the system analysed. An intervention is a unique combination of infrastructure assets and operating rules, identified through multi-criteria search. Where lines cross, there is a trade-off between the 2 axes. Highly desirable performance for one metric implies less desirable performance for the other, and vice versa. We know these trade-offs exist because the search algorithm has run hundreds of thousands of simulations to determine which interventions have the highest performance. The blue lines represent the interventions with performance at the limits of the system, but which balance the benefits represented by the metrics in different ways. If there was a single best intervention, that would be shown by a blue line across the top of the 2 axes. Axes can also be used to select decision variables, where it's interesting to understand the relationship between a decision and system performance. For example, here I'm adding the area of new irrigated sugarcane as an axis. This shows that we can have a large new area of sugarcane, either with high hydropower generation and high flow regime alteration, which is a proxy for environmental flows and therefore a negative impact. Or we could have a large new area of sugarcane with lower hydropower revenue, but better environmental performance, or a range of options in between. The trade-offs inherent to the system mean it's not possible to have everything we might like. Moving the axes around can help understand the relationships between pairs of metrics. This can be done by clicking and dragging on axis titles. Here the trade-offs between new irrigated sugarcane and flow regime alteration are much clearer when the axes are adjacent. The crossing lines are much more apparent. A good way to understand the trade-offs is by filtering the range of interventions. This can be done by clicking and dragging along an axis to create a filter box. The extent of the box can be changed once it has been created by clicking and dragging the end of the box. The box can also be moved up and down the axis by clicking and dragging inside it. To clear a filter box, just click on the axis somewhere outside of the box. Filtering more than one axis at a time can help to constrain options for development. One group of stakeholders might object to performance outside a particular range for a metric, while another requires performance above a threshold for another metric. Where these aren't compatible, we can see how much things need to shift to achieve a compromise. Hovering the cursor over an intervention line can provide more precise information about its performance. This can be done either by holding the Shift key and clicking on a line to isolate its performance values in the table below the plot, or by using the Line Labels drop-down menu. The table below the plot only shows the values for the axes in the plot, whereas line labels can provide information about any metrics or decision variables when the cursor hovers over an intervention line. The Color drop-down menu can also be used to color the intervention lines for a selected metric or decision variable. The Using Polyvis button is available with a summary of this information as a PDF.